What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Hard Copy Media podcast. Today, we're very happy to have a guest with us here in the studio. We've got Ivan Ramirez here with us.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely, thanks for coming down. We've already been talking pre-rolling here, and I think this is going to be a great episode. So, Ivan, for everyone who doesn't know you or know what you do, who are you? Where are we? What do you do? What do you like to do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Ivan. I actually am. I consider myself a little bit of a all hands on anything that I could really get on. Primarily, though, I would say a DP, creative director for influence media, and I kind of do anything that makes shit look cool. I think is the best way that I can really describe myself. Is if it's photo, if it's video, if it's graphics, that's kind of my playground, if you will. That's my sandbox.
Ivan's a very well-rounded creative. He doesn't just like pointing cameras at things and making them look pretty. Like, he can make graphics look pretty. He can make call sheets look pretty. The branding stuff and all the newsletter, everything you guys have been doing over at Influence is friggin' phenomenal.
Appreciate it, man.
I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I didn't know until recently you were the mastermind behind it. I figured you guys were like farming it out to Fiverr or something.
Hell no. Well, and the thing too about that is that, like, I especially like the branding that we've been working on with Influence has been something that I haven't really, like, I didn't really have a vision for it, right? Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, I feel like this would be cool if we did it this way, right? And shout out to Skylar, obviously, because he kind of really trusted me with the ability to do that, and Stefan, of course. So it's just been a nice partnership to be able to, kind of work with those guys and kind of take their branding, which was already a solid foundation for the most part, and just kind of, take it to the next level. So it was really nice.
If you haven't checked it out, Influence is kind of, I don't want to call it a reinvention, but an evolution in the last several months has been really cool, and it's really fun but still coherent.
Well, I mean, you're the one to talk, bro. Like, the Hard Copy Media, I think, is probably one of my favorite logos because it hits on a few different things. The vapor wave aesthetics is, I've always been a huge fan, especially because I love the 80s. So
I think like most 90s kids do.
Yeah,
like, because that's what we were raised on.
Exactly.
Like.
No, 100%. And even, that shirt that you have on is very reminiscent of the Kodak, inspired. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong.
I stole some Kodak and some VHS info for these shirts. So
100%.
You're actually like overly spot on.
Yeah.
Sue me, guys.
100%. No, I agree. It's something that I've always kind of seen. We were just talking, prior to us rolling here, that some of the marketing that I really, really enjoyed from me growing up personally was marketing that made you feel like you're part of the product or whatever it is that the service might be, through more intensive ways than just, here's our product, buy our product, right? Yeah. What the thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the I don't know if you remember the PlayStation. I think it was like PS1, PS2 days, where a lot of their graphics were very grotesque, borderline, like edgy, sort of like for example, there's one in particular that I remember that it was an eye that was looking to the left, and in the veins of the eyes was the triangle, square, and X. And then there was another one where somebody's holding a control, and like the veins make the square, the triangle, and the X.
I remember that one.
Yeah, so it was like, it's that sort of like edginess towards a product that makes you like interested in it. It's not necessarily the product that gets you, right? Yeah. But it's more of the eye catch of what you're trying to sell and how you get that attention. So that's always been something that I've been big on. When we had talked about the rebranding of Influence, I wanted to go the Technicolor route. Mm-hmm. So with the new colors that we kind of did for marketing, studios, and rentals, it's that very iconic Technicolor, Dancing in the Rain, sort of like heyday of Hollywood, where it's those colors were primarily what Panavision and all these other big Hollywood cinema blockbusters would kind of tailor to, is because it was a new day and age where color wasn't around as much, and now it was like the I think they call it like the silver age of cinema or whatever in Hollywood. So I don't know. I kind of went that route because I thought, what better way to bridge the old and the new and have that kind of be an essence of what influence should be. So that was kind of my elevator pitch, if you will, on that.
I mean, I loved it. I remember seeing it come out, and I mean, I used to work in-house in marketing and branding, and with a creative services company. I worked in-house marketing, branding, video production, all that. I was at one point actually a brand manager in my resume.
Repertoire.
Yeah. I was brand manager for a hot minute.
Sure.
I also wrote email newsletters and brand paid ads and a bunch of other stuff too.
Sure.
That really helped me understand marketing more. But because of that, we were always like studying brands and studying identity and brand identity and visuals and language, and I mean everything down to the fonts that brands are using. So when I saw what you guys were doing with influence, I was like, oh damn, this is like polished and makes sense and is nice. So just like, I'm not trying to glaze you up too much here, I did really enjoy it, like not just from like it is aesthetically like a cool vibe, but also from like the way you guys presented it to the public, the way that's manifested in your other deliverables and things, I think is really, really cool and really polished and put together. And I think that's like such an underrepresented part of what we do in like the film and media world, whether it's your personal brand and like who you are, or for the folks out there that are running media companies, like they tend to just like, my media company is me. It's like, that's it. That there's nothing else to it. Their websites are usually their portfolio, or their personal website still. And I think that for people to understand like a brand, and if you want to have a brand that isn't just your personal brand, you've got to have some semblance of visual design, of that like cohesion from element to element. And maybe it changes over time. Maybe you reinvent it several times over, but like having that experience and that set of visuals that correspond to whatever you're trying to stand for as a brand, I think is something that helps make you stand out in the crowded marketplace, because everybody's a creator nowadays. It also helps with recall, and like just people gel with certain things better, like there's just blanket brand affinity, kind of like what you were saying with the PlayStation ads. Like you found it super intriguing, it worked for you. I'm sure there was a small subset of people that did not like it at all, but like they maybe still like PlayStation, or maybe like PlayStation's reinvented their marketing several times through the years, but like maybe another campaign later got them, or that is the nature of big brands, is they can play with some of those different campaigns and things, but people will just naturally gravitate towards stuff that they like. And I think that is something that a lot of video business owners and a lot of video professionals, or just creative professionals in general, need to consider, is that your branding should be a reflection of you and your tastes, but also needs to be like a coherent set of rules and things that you apply to more than one item.
Well, and I also think that it's important to divert where you stop, where your personal likes and things that you enjoy in marketing stops, and where your business starts, right? So as an example, like I started with Studio Z, has always been my LLC, right? My business, my own freelancing stuff. And I always show my personal, I feel like my personal style of what I like is not the same as what I would present as Studio Z, or as my own branding, because I feel like both of those worlds are a little bit of they're intermingled for the most part, right? But it's not everybody's going to enjoy, what you might think is cool. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, in general, I think that there has to be a little bit of thought put into where does your personal spin on what you might like is different than what your branding should feel and look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's always I'm going to butcher this, so I'm just going to apologize in advance. Cross cultures and everything here. There's a Japanese saying where it's like you have three faces, right? And there's one face that the world sees one face that like your loved ones and your family sees, and one face that like is your true like you face.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying with branding. Is like your business lanes can be different faces of your tastes.
Sure.
But like they don't all have to be the exact same.
Exactly.
You know, like there can be different flavors of things. You know, I'm very fortunate and also very selfish, and that like hard copy media is very reflective of like my tastes and aesthetics. I am a sucker for like synthwave and like retro wave stuff.
But there's nothing wrong with that,
cyberpunk,
right?
and like I collect laser discs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like I am all about the like vintage,
Yeah.
but like vintage futuristic
Throwback,
aesthetic.
yeah.
Like the alien aesthetic. What we thought this future was going to look like in the 80s, you know.
I think they call that cassette futurism.
Cassette futurism.
Yes.
Cassette futurism, retro futurism, like that whole thing, cyberpunk vibes, like that is like I love that. I would live in that world if I could.
Yeah.
Frankly, we're almost there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But sweet. Well, I think we've
Just a few Skynuts away, bro.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, God, how many movies have we made about AI killing us all? And now
seriously.
we're like, how can we give AI missiles? that'll end well. That's not what this podcast is about. But branding, you did mention, of course, your personal branding. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I always love to find out, because we all have very different avenues usually that have led us to creative lives.
Sure.
How did you end up, both freelancing as a creative professional with your own creative company as well as working with influence? Like, how did you get here working with cameras and creativity and design?
So I feel like I'm fortunate. There's a quote that says, as an adult, some are fortunate to remember what they wanted to be as a kid. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you forget what that was exactly. And so for me, I always wanted to work with in TV or film to some extent. And I know we've had this conversation in the past, but for me, it really started off by just working with graphics, right? So like, I think I took my first course in high school. It was like, shout out Mr. Dix at East High. He showed me how to use Photoshop, and I kind of like, expanded into going from traditional media, which I've always been a really good artist. So that's the one thing. It's like I started with traditional media, that kind of evolved into graphics, using Photoshop, using things like that. And then I think my senior year of high school, I was in Wisconsin at that time, and they had a course where you could do photos and photo and video shop. I think it was like media something. And so I kind of picked up a camera and I was like, well, let's see what we could do with this. And I don't even think that the course really demanded me to have a finished like film or like movie or whatever. It was just something that I wanted to do because at the time, this kind of goes to show you how bad of a student I was. I was actually in night school just because like my grades were like terrible. I would never show up to school. Like I think by the end of senior year, I had like 160 something like missing attendees for days that are missing. So I had to make those up. And the only way that I would be able to graduate is if I took night school. And so anytime that I was in night school, they would shave off, I think it was like two missing detentions or something like that.
Like for makeup credit
to make up credits, like to the extent where like by the end of the year, if I finished night school, I would be able to walk with my class. And so I did that. Anyways, long story short, we had the media class, and me and my buddies just kind of like were like, let's just film some skits, like some funny skits. And with night school, we actually had a little cart where our lunch actually didn't happen until like 5 o'clock or so in the afternoon. And so like the cafeteria would give us a cart where they would like load like all our lunches, and like they would always send somebody out to pick up the cart and bring it back to the classroom. And so I was like, well, dude, we have a dolly now. Like let's use the cart as some sort of movement for the camera of whatever. I don't even remember what the movie is. The point of it is that we broke the cart. And so, and so then we had to take all our lunches from that point on in the actual cafeteria because we had a broken cart and they weren't going to trust us with another cart at that point. So that was my introduction into working with video and stuff like that. And so
I love the MacGyverness of like, we have a cart. That means we have a camera dolly. Like,
yeah,
we have
exactly.
a way of moving this.
100%. 100%.
So,
we got to
like,
get
guerrilla indie. Like,
yes, 100. And this was before I even like knew much about, videos or anything like that. I just knew that like I like the movement. I like, if we can follow, my buddy down the hallway as we're moving and it like is stable enough, like it would look cool, and so yeah, like fast forward, I ended up buying a camera from one of my buddies. Like this was years after high school. At the time, I was working in HR for Schneider, so I was doing logistics, and I just hated that job, dude. It was just bad. It was a lot of dealing with phone calls and I was in sales for a long time too, right? So I was doing cell phone sales and I was really good at sales, but it wasn't my thing, and I just felt like there was always something that I wanted to do, and every time I was like trying to get away from that corporate side of my life, I would always pick up a camera, and that's kind of where it started, right? And so it got to the point where I started taking it a little bit more serious. I started going out and doing shoots. And the thing about where I grew up, which is in Green Bay, there isn't a big creative like industry in general, right? Green Bay is known for logistics primarily because that's where you come in through the Great Lakes and a lot of shipping containers and stuff like that. So it's not known as a production hub at all. Although we have a big NFL stadium in the middle of the city, go Pack Go.
So just for the record, he is in a Steelers studio right now. There's a helmet right down there.
You guys got Rodgers, bro. So
we did get Rodgers, but Rodgers couldn't beat Green Bay. He couldn't sweep the sea, beat the Jets in the opener, dude. And was like happy to beat everyone in that organization. And then he couldn't beat Green Bay. Come on, Rodgers.
He was super salty too at the end of there.
Oh, I know he was. It was fantastic. I still have mixed feelings about that, but we can have the football discussion later. But yeah, it was a well played game by.
So Green Bay isn't known as a creative hub in general. So there was a very small knit amount of people that are in the city that actually did creative. Whether it was like there's a lot of music artists out there. A lot of my friends did music. There wasn't that many people that did photography or videography to the extent that you see here in Arizona, and so. Because of that, I was kind of led to like do my own thing. So like I would go and do photo shoots with myself, right, as the subject, or primarily just buildings or any like unique structure that I would find around the city. So that's really where I got my foot in the door, if you will, of like how I can pick up a camera and make it work for my own like portfolio. And then after building that portfolio, I ended up getting hired by this company, Be Connected, which was in the social media realm of like working with small businesses and doing that sort of thing. And I did that for like a year or so. And because I still had family here in Arizona, one of my cousins was in the production industry, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna shoot a show here." He's like, "I see that you're already doing videos and stuff like that on your own." He's like, "If you want to come down, hang out with the family for like a year or like 6 months, I think it was the total what the show was shooting for." He's like, we can do that. We can make that happen. And so I don't know. I just kind of took the leap, and this is kind of where I ended up. Yeah. So long story short, sorry for that. Thanks for coming for my TED Talk.
No. I always love hearing how people fall into it because there's always the sentence, and then one day I picked up a camera. And so 100%. It's like finding out when that one day was or like why it was, is always really, really intriguing to me because like I know when I picked up a camera and like same thing, I was like, oh damn, we can make like cool shit with this camera. And then it was just like, how cool can we make it? And then like, chase I got to make it cooler and cooler. And then it's like, oh wait, but like story matters, And so it's always fun to hear kind of the different journeys that have brought us all together.
100%. No, 100%. And I think the nice thing too is that once I got back here, I realized what I was missing in Wisconsin. So I feel like even if I stayed in Wisconsin, I wouldn't have gotten the ability to be the creative individual that I am now. Okay. Because of the fact that there isn't space to be that creative out there. And so it's nice because I got to meet all of you guys, and here we are.
I think we're gonna keep you here.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So then, for anybody who doesn't know, Ivan is, I'd say, one of the top first ACs now in the Valley. So like,
I don't
you're
know.
up there.
I would say so. I did want to touch on this. I don't consider myself a good AC. Like I do AC work because it's what's thrown my way. But I would consider myself a cam op first before an AC.
Oh, okay.
And so not that that's a bad thing or anything. I just feel like there's way better ACs out there than myself in general.
Okay, well, when you AC'd for me, you barely let me lift a finger, so I felt very pampered. It was wonderful.
Well, I think that's generally the job of a first AC, right? Is like, like I said, my cousin, the one that invited me out here, he's a first AC. He's a career first AC, and so like the way that I got,
ACs are badass.
Yeah, so the way that I got into the industry was learning his ropes, and so like even though I consider myself a cam op DP, like I primarily have the workflow of a first AC because that's the way that I was like taught. You know what I mean?
Learned. Yeah. See, I feel like I'm like the opposite, but with grip. Like I have a very like rigging minded like mindset and very like practical, like, okay, well, if the camera is going to physically be here, what else needs to be physically like changed or altered to like make the scene work?
Yeah.
But I think that's also in part due to my dad. Like I just grew up like building things and like rigging stuff together, and like I don't use the MacGyver reference lightly. Like MacGyver filmmaking is like literally what I consider myself as doing, because like I've dabbled in so many different parts of it that I just kind of like build all the different pieces myself, and then something cool happens.
Well, dude, and I feel like great DPs are usually amazing gaffers or grips, because they kind of lurk in the shadows and see what other DPs are doing. You know what I mean? They kind of lurk and they're like, I wouldn't do it this way, but
you can get real close to the camera department if you're a grip or a gaff. Yeah. It's you can see how they're thinking. You usually have eyes on monitor, and you can see both what they're asking for and then how it affects the shot. It's a great place to learn. And if you're a big hunky fella like you and I, grip jobs do come our way because just we can move stuff.
We're also great blood bags, by the way.
We are. We've been human sandbags on a couple of 20 buys that really wanted to fly away in the wind.
You know what's funny, dude? After that gig, there's a few people in town that had heard about what we ended up doing, and like I don't want to say singing our praises, but they're like, I don't know how you guys did that. Like that is insane for you guys, for that to be asked of you guys.
I don't know how we did it either. It was too windy of a day to be flying multiple 20 buys. Period.
Definitely sketch.
It was sketch, especially the one where we had to stand it up right behind the actual Olympic soccer player.
Yeah, dude.
And
I think we had half of the crew there. Yeah,
we had like 4 extra PAs with ropes on this thing. Yep. We had us on either side, and it's still almost pancaked that woman.
Oh, for sure.
Like that was scary. But
which, by the way, have you seen the?
No, I still haven't seen it.
I look for it every once in a while whenever I'm on YouTube, and I can't find it.
You know what? We're gonna just like get targeted with it one day, and
we'll
be like, that's it. It is that Leonardo DiCaprio gif from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Guys, production stories are the best. Like that was such a staple in my household because my dad worked on so many, to talk about films in the 80s, many films through the 80s. Like I couldn't watch anything with him that he had worked on without like
having a
basically backstory. Like having director's commentary on the whole time. Like Evil Dead 2, Day of the Dead, Jurassic Park. Like
I mean, those stories must have been great.
They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal, and such an important part of my childhood, and also like the kind of thing that like it's like, damn, it sounded like just a bunch of goobers having fun making cool stuff.
Yeah,
dude. I was like, that's like the goal. Like I just want to hang out with fun people and make cool shit.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing for me, especially when when we're talking about being on set. It's if you could be on set with your buddies, like that's literally the best.
Yeah,
and that's a good day. That I would choose that any day out of like a day where I have to like work some sort of corporate gig with like people that I just don't know. Like I'd rather not get paid, be on a set with my buddies and have a good time than know. So.
No, I think that's something that we share, and probably many other creatives will also share as well, because I think that's part of the reason why so many of us make the jump is like there's like, you only get one life, and we could all get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have fun.
I actually
and
called
make
my
cool
bus
stuff.
a little while ago. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mine's late. It's been, I've been waiting for it all year. But no, it's it is a much more fulfilling feeling. Like even when you're on, a spec shoot with some friends, like you're still like getting to exercise that creative muscle.
Yep.
And especially if it's like people you really enjoy working with, and like fun ideas get bounced around, like you learn some new viewpoints on something, or like, it's always a good experience. So with that, we've talked about your journey. We've talked about kind of where things go. Before we get to some of the fun questions at the end of the episode, I do want to kind of get a feel for some things that you have learned now at this stage of your career that you would have loved to have learned earlier, or that you wish you could go back and tell yourself. So is there anything that comes to mind? I mean, it could be career advice or like actual technical, like workflow something, but like what have you learned now that would have been really, really helpful to know early on?
That I was actually thinking about this on the way over, because you sent me the spec sheet of what we were going to be going over, and one of the things that hit me is that I feel like I was spoiled when I got into the industry, right? When I first came down, working that 6-month stint on that show was a blessing and a curse. And I say that because not many people are able to jump onto a show for that long. Not many people are able to just, say that they are shooting their, B cam for a big network show. And I didn't understand the grind that what the grind actually means in the industry to kind of do freelancing as a full-time opportunity. And I think that I grew from that. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that I was unfortunately spoiled from day one and expected that all the time. And so like now I wish that I would have known better, because then I would have had a backup plan for so many other things,
Yeah.
And so I think that's my biggest takeaway from the industry is just learning that this isn't your only venture that you should, put all your eggs in a basket, if you will,
Yeah.
And so I learned that the hard way, but at the end of the day, I think that the reason why both you and me and everybody that we know are in this industry is because they refuse to quit. They refuse to go back to their, their 9 to 5. And not that that's a bad thing in general. I'm just saying, in as a person that wants to be in this industry, the people that don't make it are the people that end up giving up, right? Yeah. And so, I know that sounds cliche as fuck, but like I think there's some logic to
like
that.
Cliches are often true. Like there is like you gotta have a sense of no quit. Like there are. It's like what I always say about entrepreneurship. I don't know if I actually always say this, but I feel like I've said it before, so I'm going to say I always say this.
Yeah.
Like, the highs are so high. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my God, I got this. We're going to figure it out. Like, this is going to be amazing. Like, I can't believe this is what I built. And the lows are like, oh my fucking God, how am I going to cover payroll? Who's going to pay the Amex? This insurance lapse. Like the lows are low. And it's the same thing for working like freelance in the creative space. Is like, getting on a 6-month shoot, dude. For your first shoot, oh my God, like literally. Yeah, no wonder you were spoiled. Jesus, everything was downhill after that for a while. I'm sure. I'm sure now it's ebbed and flowed, but that's a big fucking hurdle to cross first. But then like the low is like, I haven't worked in 3 weeks and I don't know where money is going to come from. And that's frankly that just compounds when you decide to run a company. Then because then you also have to pay the people that are doing the thing, and then you have to collect the money, and it all ebbs and flows.
For sure.
I think that's the nature of a lot of certainly freelance creative work. Period. But it is something that like I don't think anything can brace you for until like you just experience it.
And you have to experience it, because that's as you said, it's part of understanding that this sort of this line of work isn't for the weak.
Yeah.
It's not.
got to be resilient.
Yeah, you have to be resilient. There's definitely something about that. So I think resilience would be the main takeaway from my time in my career is if you're not resilient, you're not going to make it very far. And I've been lucky enough to have the connections that I have and be able to work with the individuals that I've been able to work with and get to travel. I mean, we've gone to places and things like that. So yeah, man, it really comes down to the resilience of if you want to do this, you'll learn one way or another and how to do it. There's no production for dummies, if you will. There's no production for.
I'm sure that's a book.
Oh,
it's probably outdated as hell.
100%.
But I'm sure it's a book.
Yeah,
they made
yeah.
a dummies book for everything.
100%. So
They're not still making those, are they?
I would assume so. I remember those being big in the early 2000s. For some reason,
there was an everything for dummies.
Yeah, everything for dummies. I think what is that? That's just Google now, right? You just Google everything.
I guess
it kind of turned into Google.
I bet you there's like a Google for dummies, and I bet you if they're still making them, and there's a big if because I don't actually know, there's probably a Chat GPT for dummies.
Chat GPT for dummies.
And it was probably written by Chat GPT.
How do you feel about AI, by the way? Like, do you use it on your?
Do we have enough
how
time
much time do we have?
No,
yeah. Do you use it in your productions?
So we actually just wrapped up our first entirely AI created video. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I say entirely AI created. I mean the visuals and the voiceover were AI created. Obviously, real human beings, me and my artist, still wrote the script, planned out the shots. Like we obviously he did all the prompting. But it was an experience. It took a lot longer than we thought it was going to really dial in cohesion. And dealing with client notes that were very specific without reinventing the entire shot was a bit of a nightmare, but somehow he managed to make it work. And actually, I need to have him on because I want to deep dive into it. Sure. Because I wasn't sitting over his shoulder watching him work the whole time.
Gotcha.
I just was the one project managing after I wrote the script and got the VO produced. So I do use it all the time with photography. I mean... generative remove, generative fill, all of those, generative expand on certain images is really freaking cool. I have seen some video applications that I would really like to play around with. And I have used it to generate a few stock footage type shots for some projects. I think that it is a big question mark as far as how legal, frankly, it all is, because it all has been trained on mixed legal sources, to say the least, as well as, and I don't want to get overly, I guess, socioeconomic or political here, but I think that the only thing that can really ruin AI or use AI to harm humans is other humans. And I think that how... certainly the biggest businesses in the world, as well as smaller mom and pop or local, small businesses implement AI, if they take the approach of using it to reduce cost, to reduce headcount, to reduce humanity in their work, I think we will see harm come, not just to people who will lose their jobs, but like society in general. I think that the only really sensible way to attack using AI in a business, and certainly for creative work, is to use it as another tool that your creatives can leverage to achieve a task.
Right.
I think that, I don't think that the panic on AI replacing jobs and us needing to once again evolve as humans and find new ways to seek livelihoods is unfounded. But I do think, certainly in the creative space, even though it's the hottest topic, I think we're honestly one of the more safe industries. Because we're still going to need people to plan out the stuff. That all AI video I talked about was still written by a human, revised, refined by a human, and then everything was still prompted and put together and edited and assembled with music, all by a human.
I think we have a big misunderstanding that when people say oh, this is a bad use of AI or whatever, they kind of use that as an umbrella of everything that AI can do. Like for example, I saw this video the other day of somebody made a AI render or like AI video using their 90-year-old grandpa's photos. And so like they took all the photos and they put them through AI to like animate them. And we're talking like slight animations, whether it's just like a head
the Harry
tilt.
Potter effect. Like,
Yeah, like nothing too crazy. And like when you do it correctly, it's such a like, I mean, imagine the grandfather that was viewing that video. Like you could just tell that he's like, holy shit, like this is amazing, you know. And it definitely can be used for good. But you're right, like there's definitely the human aspect of believing that what you're doing, what you're using it for, definitely needs to be in good measure. You know? So
I think that the ethics of it will be important, and I am frankly concerned that the profits of it will all be too big to warrant any ethical consideration.
I mean, we're already there,
which is a societal problem in general, but that would be my not so hot take on it, I guess. I do think, again, without getting crazy here, like the entire economy is propped up by the AI bubble right now. Like if you look at the companies,
it's 2008 all over again.
Chips, selling chips, building data farms, selling AI, it is just literally a circle. Like if you just rearranged it into a pyramid, it's a pyramid scheme. Like it's
not a pyramid scheme. It's an upside down funnel.
It's a stock price fugazi right now, you know. And I worry for the economic future when it eventually pops. But we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
Let's not doom and gloom here today. But this does bring me into the closing couple of segments. So I'm going to add one on the fly here.
Sure, for sure.
I'm sure you know who Gary Vee is.
Sure.
And you know, like his like big one thing is he wants to buy the Jets, right? It's like the one thing he's
I got
always
to meet
chasing.
him. He's
really?
Yeah.
I got to do a live stream with him once. I was like running the live stream. I wasn't on the live stream.
Okay, gotcha.
But, closest I've ever come.
Yeah.
But anyways, like so, I'm gonna ask first. What is your one thing? Like, what is like the pinnacle that you would love to achieve? And then I want your hot take. What's your controversial take in the creative world that might get the people going, or just they might go, damn, he's right.
I want to go through the indie circuit. So I'm hoping by the end of next year, we have some sort of project put together that I can then submit to the indie circuit. So that's kind of like the next year or so kind of goal. I've written a few things that I kind of have that I keep near and dear to my heart, as far as like what that film might be or whatever that might be, but nothing fully fleshed out yet. So we'll see where it takes me. We'll see where the project goes, but I guess does that answer the main question? It's like,
I mean, that was the one goal. And then what's your hot take?
Hot take.
I'll give you mine. I think that cameras have peaked. I think that like image sensor wise, like I'm talking prosumer level and below. I think like the Arri Alexa 35 Extreme is on a whole separate planet. But like,
which is also overkill, by the way.
Which is also overkill. But like at the same time, like I really think that like if you've got a couple $1,000s in your pocket and you want to go get an amazing camera and start making movies, like you can. Like I think you like throw a dart. Yeah. You know, like you're gonna hit something that's amazing. Yeah. I say that with one of my prized possessions here that I strived for very, very, very long to procure.
Was this your go-to when you're like, all right, I can buy a camera that's literally hands down what you went with?
I mean, there's a long story for how I ended up with the Red Monstro, but it was on the list. I mean, once upon a time, I remember when it came out and it was $80,000.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, all right, well, someday. And spoiler alert, I did not pay $80,000, but I got one, and it's someday. So, and I love it.
Yeah.
I frankly shoot more personal stuff on it that never sees the light of day than anyone will ever pay me to use it for. But I really think that like throw a dart, cameras have peaked. Like,
so question for you:
we've hit mass saturation
with your personal projects. Do you ever feel like you're ever going to release anything that you shoot personally? How do you go about understanding where this stays in the vault and what actually gets released?
So a lot of times when I pick up a camera to shoot something personally, like I'm not even necessarily thinking about necessarily the edit. Like I'm enjoying the hunt and the moment for the shot or the experience.
Okay.
So like the last personal thing that I shot a bunch of footage for that has seen some small light of day. I took like some of my favorite shots and made like a quick reel. Was when I was in Italy with my wife earlier this year, and I took my FX3 and only 2 lenses. I took my Blazar Remus 33 mil anamorphic lens, and I took my 50 to 400 Tamron zoom. And those are the only 2 lenses I took. And the 33 mil anamorphic lived on that camera 90% of our trip. I really only brought the 50 to 400 out for when we were at the F1 race. I want to be able to punch in and get some closer shots.
Yeah, you got
like,
to.
I was, I didn't have any sort of media credential or anything, but I'm like, I'm at an F1 race. I'm going to shoot something, especially with how big of an F1 fan I am. So, that was the fun there for me was like everywhere we went, and I love Italy. Like it's so picturesque that it was like, damn, like what would I take with just this camera and this tool right now to like capture this feeling or capture this scene. And, my wife doesn't love when I record her, but at the same time we get home and she's like, why don't I have any cute videos of me? And so it's like, I got to kind of try and be sly about it sometimes. Be like,
100%.
hey babe, we're going to go walk through the garden and I'm going to look at this flower real quick, but that was an example of like, like the act of capturing and creating was like the fun part for me.
Sure.
So
Even
I don't have a hard, steadfast rule of like what makes it out of my like terabytes of personal shit that I've shot that, is really just was for me in the moment.
Sure.
And what doesn't. But, I am definitely happiest with a camera in my hand trying to figure out a shot.
I think whenever this kind of hits on a little bit of that, because whenever I go on vacation, you're right. I'm not thinking about the edit. I'm not thinking about what it's going to look like. Hence the reason why I really like the Fuji X100 is because it's just point and shoot. You don't have to worry about, the how you're going to edit it, how you're going to, have the final look to it, whatever. It's literally just hunting. And I think Fuji does a great job on that. Yeah. So that's my
X100.
I saw it
right outside. You could have swapped it out.
Yeah.
Had I known you were going to talk about it. For anyone that doesn't know, I brought like 6 cameras to place as props here in the middle, and I just didn't change this one. But I do have, for the same reason, I love my 100. I bought the 6 because I was going to buy a 5, and then like they announced that like that week. So
like you might as well.
Yeah, I was like, whatever. But that also went to Italy with me, and that was what all the still photos were.
I love that. And it's such a good, small like frame. You don't have to worry about lugging anything big around. So
and I love it's one lens. Like I've got mine in a manner where I can leave the lens cap off and my hood should protect everything. So I don't worry about it. I wear it like a man purse, like a crossbody strap.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
It's a satchel.
It goes with me everywhere.
Yeah. I got a hot take for you.
Okay. Yes, we're full circle now.
So I think my hot take is that not everybody should be a creator.
Ooh.
So I feel like in our day and age, there's way too many people doing the same cookie cutter shit over and over and over to the point where it's like nothing becomes original. Everything's oversaturated, and the people that are putting in the work to be original get drowned out by the noise. So I would say maybe that.
I don't think that's a bad one. I don't actually think I recorded this anywhere. I think I actually might have written this in like an actual written interview questionnaire that I was sent for something. But I wish that people just had like hobbies again.
Yeah.
Like
not everybody needs to be an influencer.
Side hustle and influencer culture on Instagram. Like I do think that's the factor of a lot of different forces weighing down on society, but like I would agree. I think that there are.
Put the camera down, buddy. We need CDL drivers.
Yeah, we do.
What do you mean?
Freight train loading dock people and stuff too. Like
exactly. You don't need that FX3. You need that CDL.
Yeah,
go get it.
All right. Hot take. Not everybody should be a creator. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think if you truly want to, though, I think there are so many resources out there now that you can become one.
Oh, 100%.
And you can find that original voice. But I think there's a lot of lazy repurposing and copycatting on the internet because they see it work and they see a potential monetary benefit to it, and then they're just like, I'm just going to do that, but me.
I was just having this conversation with my girlfriend a couple of days ago where she was like, we were talking about mukbang videos, and I'm like, to sit in front of a camera and eat and chew on something, because they don't eat stuff, right? They don't actually eat what they're...
It's usually way too much.
Yeah, it's like, it's usually they're chewing it, they're cutting it to the point where like they can spit it out, and I'm like, that just seems exhausting, you know? It just seems like it's something that like, go do something else.
I don't know. I think food is one of the greatest joys in life, and I would never want to ruin food for myself that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what I do, man. It's like, that's my Zen garden, if you will, right? Like being able to cook. True story.
Unrelated to anything he's probably about to say, if you don't follow Ivan on social media, you probably haven't seen the amazing stuff that he cooks, but like, man can cook.
Yeah. So, long story short, I used to be a line cook for like 2-3 years. Yeah. So like and actually now that I mention it, it's starting to make sense as to why like I'm a good first AC is because mise en place, which is like everything in its place, you know, it literally is the exact, you just take that concept and apply it to like cameras and your first AC, right? So anyways, I guess that makes sense.
I feel like I need to get you like a shirt now that says like yes chef, and then like we cross out chef and say like yes AC.
There's one of my buddies actually, Trev, shout out Trev, he's another first AC in town. He actually is also big into cooking. He actually just launched his channel to just primarily make food. So that's always been one of those goals where like I might want to do that at some point. I don't know, man. I feel like when I'm cooking, I like to do it for the experience. That's my way of like showing people that I care for them. Yeah. Not just me in general. Like whenever I'm making food, like I love hosting. I like making people food and being like, you made this? Like, yeah, dude, I made that. And so I feel like putting a camera in front of that takes the joy away.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You gotta be careful with like your hobbies and the things that make you happy. And in my experience and opinion, not ruining them for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like filmmaking started as a hobby and turned into a passion and is now how I pay the bills. But like I still like grab a camera anywhere I go that's fun. Like I'm always still doing it. Yeah. But like, for example, I adore video games. I actually wanted to make video games long before I wanted to make movies. Yeah. And I play, for a grown man, an obscene amount of video games.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
The idea of being a streamer or like turning that into somehow like a gig or a thing would kill me.
Yeah.
Like when I go to play video games, like I'm wanting to like yell at some 10-year-olds with my buddies and like smoke them in Battlefield or something, you know, or sit down and play like a cozy co-op game with my wife or like, I don't know, it doesn't matter what it is. Like that's when I'm like turning off my brain from like the outside stimuli and like just having like me time. Yeah. You know, and I would never, I would lose my mind if I tried to turn that into like a monetization thing. So 100%. Safeguard your cooking. Yeah. But keep posting it on Instagram because I freaking love seeing the stuff you cook up.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
As someone else who's also just a consummate foodie. Yeah. All right. Last thing. I feel like we could keep talking for hours. We're going to have you back for more.
For sure.
Last thing is, what is something that somebody should go check out right now to either inspire them, educate them? Like, what are you hot on that has either got your gears going on creativity or inspired you in some way, or something that you've learned or like a resource recently that you've used?
So I'm big on, this isn't necessarily recent, but I do like going to FilmGrab.com.
I've never heard of it.
And it's essentially just screenshots of like movies.
Oh,
and,
okay.
You know, just kind of going through and seeing composition and seeing, you know, some of my favorite movies and looking at color grades and stuff like that. So I think I'm big on that right now, is just like finding inspiration through that. The other thing too is like just going through cinematography on Reddit and looking at some of the things that get posted on there. That's always fun. I don't know, man. I'm kind of just all over the place usually as far as like creativity goes and what kind of keeps my my attention, if you will, right?
Yeah.
I think we talked a little bit about this previously. It's just I don't know, anything that catches my eye is really like I tend to go down deep rabbit holes, and then realize that I just spent 2 hours on my phone, like down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, I should probably do something creative, dude.
Yeah, I should probably stop consuming for a minute and go create something.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I mean, it's not our fault. Like the phones are engineered to suck.
Oh, for sure.
I
Doom
can't-
rectangles.
I can't tell you how many times I've like gotten on my phone to do something and like blacked out and ended up on Instagram. Like,
Yep.
it just happens.
Yep.
All right. Well, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Ivan. It's my handle is going to be Studio ZGB. It's Studio ZGB on all platforms. So yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been a really fun conversation. I love having just wonderful people on here with me. It's so much better than sitting in this room talking by myself.
There's a little bit of magic in these walls for sure.
There's something in the air. It must be the Steelers energy. Well, thank you guys all so much for spending a little time with us here. Whether you listened or watched, I really appreciate it. If there is a guest, an industry, a topic, anything that you'd like to see us cover specifically, please either let me know in the comments below or shoot me an email at hello@hardcopymedia.com. And of course, do the whole algorithm thing, please. Give us a like, give us a follow, a subscribe, share it with somebody if you found it informative or appreciated the content in any way. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.